This is Judge Joe Brown, and you're watching We All Be News TV, the
News-Free Dixie.
News-Free Dixie for the 21st century.
Hello family, this is Brother Ron, live on the scene. Just witnessed history, or our story, the taking down of the Nathan Bedford Forrest statue. We'll give a shout out to Tammy Sawyer and the Take 'em Down, or Take 'em Down 901 crew. Very historical moment. Had to be out here. It's kind of like the, I guess for some people, to take it down the Berlin Wall. Never thought I would see in my lifetime the taking down of one of the most powerful symbols and representations of white supremacy, or I like to call white inferiority in the system, which is the equestrian statue, as well as resting place of General Nathan Bedford Forrest, one of the most prolific slave traders in American history, a military genius, but also the first grand wizard of the Ku Klux Klan, as well as war criminal, the perpetrator and the mastermind of the 1864 Fort Pillow Massacre. His resting place for the last 113 years has been disturbed like King Tut. The statue has been taken down. The remains of his wife and him are still there. That's been there since 1904, but the statue been there since 1905. And it was made in Italy and is worth millions of dollars. So shout out to Van Turner, the black lawyer, and his group, I think Green Space, of Memphis, for buying the park and making it private. So since it's private property, they had the right to remove the statue from its very prominent place and space in Memphis life. As you all know, if you follow We All Be, for the last 112 years, every Sunday before Nathan Bedford Forrest's birthday on July 13th, you will have white supremacists, sons and daughters of the Confederacy, Klansmen, all types of white folks from all types of walk of life, from all around the country and even the planet, come down here to honor Nathan Bedford Forrest with a lecture, with Civil War reenactments, with their Confederate flags, watermelon and forest water, and German shepherds, and all things proclamation from the governor of the state of Tennessee. Every year, his birthday, he is acknowledged by the state of Tennessee as a state hero. So this is systemic. So this is a small victory, of course, but if you are aware of Memphis area of the Mid-South, we do know across the bridge that there's a Forest City. So they remove a statue tonight, but Forest City, Arkansas still remains. And that's a city that was found by Nathan Bedford Forrest himself. So We All Be will have more information. We'll get more deep into this thing about what happened tonight, break it down. But once again, congratulations to Sister Tammy Sawyer, Reverend Earl Fisher, and the Take 'em Down 901 movement for this momentous achievement. But not only them, but this has been 112 years in the making. People like the late Judge D. Army Bailey, people like CORE, the Commission on Religion and Racism here. That brother I interviewed when they did their lone protest back in April of 2009. This has been years and years in the making, so will provide some insight to that and some context, and also check out our playlist that cover Nathan Bedford Forrest's legacy, Fort Pillow, and all things Nathan Bedford Forrest, Fort Pillow, and clans like. But I was surprised once again because across the street from where the statue stood was the Freemason building. The Scottish Rite, Albert Pike, the founder of the Klan, was friends with Nathan Bedford Forrest, was a Scottish Rite 33rd degree Freemason. And the Scottish Rite building is right across the street.
Greetings, family, and welcome to another wonderful edutainment edition of The Art of His Thinks. This is a special edition, special delivery, ha 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 ha, special delivery. Y'all remember that? G-Dep, Child of the Ghetto, B-Boy, P. Diddy, Daddy, whatever. But anyway, this is a special edition. We are coming post ForREst statue removal. That's right, boys and girls, scholars and laymen, the moment that has been 112 years in the making. Last night, the city of Memphis, the Memphis City Council agreed to remove Nathan Bedford Forrest's statue out of Health Sciences Park, formerly known as Nathan Bedford Forrest Park, and they also removed the Jefferson Davis statue from Confederate Park. This is a historic event. I was there to witness history, our story last night. Almost like, I guess, how it would feel for people when they saw or witnessed the removal of the Berlin Wall. Maybe it's not on that level, but it's kind of like for some people, especially those older people in the community who had to endure walking past that statue ever since they were little. I'm talking about people from the civil rights generation and older who can recall how it was like living in Memphis during the Jim Crow era. But, you know, a lot of controversy. It was done at night. The property, which was public property, taxpayer property, was sold to a non-profit in waiting called Green Space, which is headed by Attorney Van Turner, who is also, from my understanding, I believe a Shelby County commissioner. For some people, this represents a conflict in interest. How can an elected official be able to buy property that was not put out for sale to the public, according to people who did not support this move, especially folks who are from the Sons and Daughters of the Confederacy, as well as other groups who saw Nathan Bedford Forrest as a national treasure, a hero, they're a freedom fighter, their legend. So this came to a shock to a lot of people. You know, so much police presence down there that night. It's like if you want to commit crime in Memphis, you could do it anywhere but downtown Memphis, because all the police was in downtown Memphis protecting an inanimate object and the burial ground of a dead white man and his wife. A white man who's been dead for 100 years had got more protection than President Trump probably would have gotten in Memphis. People, you know, the streets were blocked by dump trucks and police cars, and of course the news was down there. People from Take Them Down 901 was down there. I definitely was down there because I actually been covering this story for years. Give shout outs to Tammy Sawyer, Reverend Earl Fisher, and the people of the Take Them Down 901 movement. They gained a lot of momentum within a year time. And I'm giving them credit where credit due, because they were the spear of the vanguard. They led the charge, but this has been a movement and a moment that was years in the making. One of my Jegnas, my Jegnas, was the late great D. Army Bailey. Him and his brother Shelby County Commissioner Walter Bailey led the charge back in the early 2000s. I remember covering Dr. Isaac Richmond of CORE, the Commission on Race and Religion in Memphis. They led a protest I covered April 4th, 2009 at ForREst Park. They invited the media to come out, and We All Be News media was the only media that accepted the invitation, because I received a flyer on that Friday, April 3rd, at the University of Memphis from representatives of CORE, the Commission on Race and Religion, doing a Reverend Jeremiah Wright event at University of Memphis. So I took it upon myself to come out with my camera, recorded some of the activists, and as well as Dr. Isaac B. Richmond of CORE, and I put it out there on YouTube. So this has been going on for a while, but like I said, this moment was 112 years in the making. I want to congrats Tammy Sawyer and her people for taking up the latest segment of the charge. But like Dr. King said, where do we go from here? I actually covered a Nathan Bedford Forrest birthday rally this past July. Every year for the past 112 years, the Sunday before Nathan Bedford Forrest's birthday, which is July 13th, he was born July 13th, 1821, but every year, the Sunday before his birthday, July 13th, for 112 years, the sons and daughters of the Confederacy, as well as other admirers and fans of Nathan Bedford Forrest, some even from Claverns, other white nationalist organizations, white folks from around the country, even from around the planet, white folks from all walks of life, from motorcycle gang people, Klansmen, to teachers, business owners, politicians, you name it, college professors, all come out every year by the hundreds and some years by the thousands to honor the memory of Nathan Bedford Forrest. You have Civil War reenactors, Confederate flags galore, German shepherds, open to carry, forest watermelon, because it's July, y'all, in Memphis, and humidity be killing it. So they be out there for about several hours with a special guest lecturer to talk about the greatness of Nathan Bedford Forrest. One thing I got to give them props on is their propaganda game. They are the masters of spin. Their spokesperson is Lee Millar, who is Sons of Confederate veteran, but also he works at the Shelby County Sheriff's Department. So you know, people talk about race soldiers and all these people. You actually got people in law enforcement who are active members in white nationalist organizations that are got jobs being paid by the taxpayer. So Lee Millar, I interviewed him several times when I not necessarily participated, but observed these events. I went to 3 Nathan Bedford Forrest birthday rallies down at Health Sciences Park, which used to be known as Forest Park, from 2015, 2016, 2017. I have not obstructed their right to freedom of speech or expression, but I have observed, engaged, and interviewed and documented my time down there. You know, this city is 70% black, but on those Sundays when they come together, you can hardly find any black person downtown, even though a lot of black folks still had no clue what was going down there. You would see a lot of police down there, like police protection, like the president was in town, which is interesting because you got these white nationalist groups. They get better protection than tax-paying black citizens do. You know, every year they get this police protection down there, which is crazy. Matter of fact, before the taking down of the statue last night, you had police protection around the clock in Forest Park as well, or Health Sciences Park, as well as at the Confederate Park. You had police protection on the taxpayer dime, which is interesting. They are willing to protect the legacy of a white terrorist, who actually was part of state-sponsored terrorism through the forms of slave trade, as well as being a Klansman, and also a reputed war criminal. They paid police officers overtime for protecting his statue and his remains. And he's been dead for over 100 years. This is very fascinating. But yeah, I've been covering for 3 years. Let's go to We All Be TV and look at our playlist about Nathan Bedford Forrest and the Ku Klux Klan and all this stuff. We got videos. Interview relatives of Nathan Bedford Forrest, as well as supporters and also detractors of Nathan Bedford Forrest. And for the last couple of years, the We All Be Group Inc. have been going to the National Sala Conference. That is the Association for the Study of African American Life and History, which was founded by Dr. Carter G. Woodson, the father of Black history. So for the last couple of years, the We All Be Group Incorporated has been presenting at the national conference. Recently, we had a conference or a observation because we were able to find the cemetery plots of the victims of Nathan Bedford Forrest's Fort Pillow Massacre of 1864. That's the Fort Pillow Massacre of 1864, which led to the killing and massacre and the genocide of 300 black Union soldiers, as well as black women and children. We found 109 cemetery plots in Memphis National Cemetery off of Jackson Street in North Memphis. We actually gave them an honorary, an official funeral. They never got proper funerary rights back in the 1860s. So my organization, the We All Be Group Incorporated, was able, through the help of our vice president, Sister Callie Hurd, my mom, we had the vision and foresight and the gumption to go out there to organize a proper funeral home going for our ancestors 100+ years, like almost 150 years later, right? 53 years later, they finally got a proper funeral rites where we had a riderless horse sponsored by the Memphis Police Department, limousine, police escort, limousine services. We invited the descendants of the survivors of the Fort Pillow Massacre to the event. We had taps played, we had 21 gun salute, and all this has been documented by the We All Be Group Incorporated, as well as local media documented it as well. So we did our part to honor our ancestors who've been neglected for generations. And everything's coming to head. Like, it's not just one person that deserves the credit for what happened last night, because it's been years and generations in the making. Like I said, my Jagna, the ancestor, Delman Bailey, who was the founder of the National Civil Rights Museum, was very active and very vocal about removing the statue. They had rallies. They even brought in the Reverend A.L.L. Sharpton back in the early 2000s, I believe 2004, to protest the Nathan Bedford Forrest statue. Because people don't understand that, yeah, a lot of statues have been taken down around the country of Robbie E. Lee, of Jefferson Davis in New Orleans, Charlottesville, the Carolinas, but this shrine was arguably one of the most powerful and most enduring symbols of white inferiority, not white supremacy, but white inferiority, because they can't even admit that they lost the war. So this is about white inferiority complex. But this symbol, because this is the resting place of a white inferiority, or I guess of one of their icons. General Nathan Bedford Forrest is an icon of white nationalism. He is a notorious slave trader, prolific. You know, he was better at slave trading than Michael Jordan was at playing basketball. Or just as great as Michael Jordan playing basketball or LeBron James playing basketball in their time, you know, in their prime. He was a notorious slave trader, prolific. He had one of the largest slave markets in the country on Adams Street. Now, Adams Street is the home to our juvenile court, which is arguably one of the most corrupt juvenile courts in the whole country. So that's a living legacy. He also had a black convict labor contract to work President's Island, which is located in the Mississippi River between Arkansas and Memphis. So he's one of the founding fathers of the private prison industry complex, another living legacy of Nathan Bedford Forrest. So he has living legacy. And also, he was the first Grand Wizard of the Ku Klux Klan, state-sponsored terrorism. So it was interesting because I was educating people down there last night, not trying to educate people, but I'm just trying to be me. I'm just trying to be useful wherever I'm put in this world, in this matrix. I try to be useful and productive. And by the way, for all the folks, I want to thank the people who received my messages, who are still following me in spite of Baba Gregory moving on and other things. And if you want to unsub, I don't give a damn, okay? You don't need to make an announcement saying you unsub me, just unsub. Nobody gives a damn. You might just be a government troll sponsored by the NSA, because a lot of y'all say hurtful and meaningful things and want to make yourself heard, but I look at your channels, no subscribers, no content, no pictures. So keep it moving. You won't be missed. You know, just add more fuel to the fire, baby, because I'm a survivor. I'm a survivor, man, because I look at all the stuff I have done for people and all the things I continue to do. A lot of times I don't get credit for it. A lot of times I don't get support. That means I'm a winter soldier. This is the first day of winter solstice. I'm trucking, I'm moving. I work out. I know people, oh yeah, Big Ron burns 2,000 plus calories in 1 hour running 8+ miles 3 or 4 times a week. I walk up 3 flights of stairs several times a week. I weight lift. I'm always training. I weight lift my mind. I read books. I consume information. I talk to people. I try to do my best to share what I know and what I learn and pass it on. So I can really give a damn if you want to unsub me. I can really give a fuck, because for every one person that unsub me, 3 people take your place. And even if they don't take it, I don't care. So keep it moving. I just want to make the acknowledgement. I'm not going to respond to people's vulgarity and negativity, because I'm moving so much forward. And you know, the thing about what's scary about me is if I actually had the support, you know, if I actually had the support, how much stuff could actually get done. And you can help the We All Be movement by donating, by spreading the word, not stealing my information, not stealing my shit, but promoting my shit. Because it'll help us make more shit when you help me. Because I want to help y'all. I believe in my people. I love my people enough to put myself out there on the line. I don't hide behind no avatar. I don't got no disembodied voice. Oh, I'm this. You see who I am. You see my frailties. I'm not hard to find. Like Tupac said, we ain't hard to find, okay? I be everywhere. I ain't hard to find. It's Brother Ron. And I want to thank the people that I see when they see me in the streets. They salute me. They embrace me. They show me love. I want to thank the folks who do donate on a consistent basis, who do offer words of power, empowerment, and positivity towards what I'm doing. I don't mean to get off track, but I just want to put that out there. So all the negativity, just leave, man. Purge out. We don't need you. But anyway, all the people who are here and still after I said all that, welcome to the resistance and to the empowerment segment. But Nathan Bedford Forrest, which is interesting. I was down there talking to blacks and whites from different socioeconomic backgrounds. We were all surprised. Even talked to police. You know, and police were like, you know, they were ready to go home. They appreciate some of the overtime, but they were ready to go on with their lives. But here's the thing. Never confuse winning a battle with winning the war. Once again, let me repeat. Never confuse winning a battle with winning the war. Yeah, that was nice that they took down those statues, but guess what? Right across the river is ForREst City, Arkansas. ForREst City, Arkansas. Guess who found ForREst City, Arkansas? General Nathan Bedford Forrest founded ForREst City, Arkansas. He named ForREst City, Arkansas after himself. There's a Forrest County, Mississippi. And guess who's that named after? There's plenty of places, buildings, other roadways. There's a lot of places named after Nathan Bedford Forrest in the country. So don't confuse taking down a couple of symbols of oppression and repression and hate with actually winning something. You know, it didn't stop people from killing people in Memphis or committing crimes. It didn't stop the poverty rates from climbing up and skyrocketing or unemployment. You know, so we got to look at the bigger scheme of things. Yeah, it was nice, made for a good conversation piece. I respect that. And to not acknowledge that will be a shame. So kudos for us. Yay, yay, yay. That's great. But at the same time, Memphis is one of the poorest big cities in the country. And it's time to really tackle the elephant in the room. You can't talk about equality without having equity. Black folks need equity before they need it. Before we need equality, we need equity. So what they said also, the movement to take down the statue was not just a black woman movement. I know Black Lives Matter was mentioned last night. Tammy Sawyer, I believe some of the people who are involved in Take Them Down 901 are also involved in Black Lives Matter. My problem with Black Lives Matter is the corporate version of Black Lives Matter, not necessarily the organic version of Black Lives Matter, because we shouldn't always throw out the baby with the bathwater. Because a lot of people say, well, you know, Black Lives Matter with George Soros, it doesn't belong to him. Like the corporate aspects of this movement is theirs. But remember what Brother Malcolm, my ancestor, told us, is that the Negro movement will be controlled by the white foxy liberals in government, but the black movement is controlled by God. This is our time, and when the black movement is strongest, is when black women and black men work together in unity and solidarity. So that's why you know Black Lives Matter is a false, the corporate version, because on their website, they do not acknowledge black manhood or the black man, especially the black heterosexual male. We need to start talking about alpha black heterosexual males. Where are the black heterosexual males who are strong, who stand on their two, who's willing to put their lives on the line for what they believe in, who protect their woman, the womanhood, the black womanhood, but also promote their manhood and protect their balls, okay? We need strong brothers to step up. There's really not a lot of strong brothers out there visible stepping up. You cannot name me a strong black alpha male that is in charge of a prominent institution in this so-called white inferiority system. I ain't talking about black man. Well, no, brother so-and-so, you know, he be at the coffee shop with dashiki, no disrespect. You know, they do the 3-hour presentation. I'm talking about a brother in charge of some policy that affects not only black people and brown people, but all people in this country. Name me one black person who can affect public policy in this country. I ain't talking about a black person who holds a title, who's a public servant supposedly, but always serving themselves and big upping themselves and talking trash and saying he ain't my president. I'm talking about black folks that get results for black people, that put black folks in power, that put bread on black folks' table, that make sure black folks got a place to sleep and stay. I'm talking about black folks like Reverend Adam Clinton Powell Jr. Where are those type of black public servants? Not self-serving servants, but black empowerment, especially in this city. This is a black city that is ran by a damn plantation. That statue came down because white folks said we're going to take it down. Right? They could have been took that statue down. They could have been doing it. But the ingenious part, shout out to Bradley Watkins, Mid-South Peace and Justice Center. They say he had the idea of buying the land from the city. That's great. That's excellent. But also, I want to say we got to protect our people on the front lines. Memphis got a poor track record when it comes to protecting our people that fight for us on the front lines. We let the white folks run Ida B. Wells out of town. We allowed the system to kill Dr. King on our watch using black people. They make no mistake about it. They touched Dr. King with black folks' help. And also, I want to, like I cleared up last night, this mistake about Dr. King and this nonviolence stuff. First of all, Dr. King was not mainly influenced by Gandhi. He was influenced by a white man named Henry David Thoreau, Walden Pond. That was Dr. King's spiritual guide on the nonviolence thing, okay? Look up Henry David Thoreau. Henry David Thoreau to Dr. King is like John Brown to Dick Gregory. When you understand those people, you can understand them a little bit better. Dr. King was most protected when he had people around him with guns. I remember talking to Charles Evers, the brother of the late great Medgar Evers, the great, iconic, and controversial Charles Evers. He said that every time Dr. King would come to Jackson, he would make sure that he would stay at his home. Because Dr. King said, I feel so safe around here, Charles, because you got all the guns and goons. See, Charles Evers was a gangster. He was from Chicago. He's from Mississippi. Lived in Chicago, ran numbers, ran women for the mob. Ran numbers and women for the mob. Came back to Mississippi after his brother died to take over his brother's affairs and activism. Made his own niche down there. He's been down there ever since. He's almost 100 years old. Was born September 11th, 1922. Charles Evers. A fascinating dude, you know. But when Dr. King's come to Memphis, he had an all-black police security detail protect him until that last time he came to Memphis. Same thing with Malcolm X. When Malcolm spoke with the Audubon, there would normally be 3 dozen police officers out in the area, not necessarily protecting Malcolm, but making sure nothing got out of hand. The day he got hit in the Audubon, no police around. Now his chief bodyguard, Eugene Roberts, was undercover police, boss program. Also was a brother who set up Afeni Shakur, Tupac's mom, and the Panther 21. That's all another story. But I want to get y'all to understand something here. We need to protect our truth seekers, our freedom fighters. Whether I agree wholly or fully with Tammy Sawyer or Earl Fisher, they do need the support and the protection of the community, because the news have made it their job, the so-called mainstream media in Memphis, to point out all the activists and all the leaders involved in this movement to take down the Confederate statues, and they're putting big old targets, like GPS targets, on our brothers and sisters who are involved in this very provocative and game-changing work. So I want to ask for the people out there who are in their right minds to offer a prayer, positivity, light, and also protection for these brothers and sisters out here doing work on behalf of the people. Because they shouldn't be like Dr. King on that balcony by himself getting shot in the face. They shouldn't be like Malcolm X on that stage by himself getting shot in the chest. They shouldn't be like Medgar Evers in that driveway by himself getting shot in the back by a coward. We should be out there with those people. Like John Henry Clark said, you know, one person don't stop a movement, bury the man and continue the plan, but also be willing to put yourself on the line for what you want. Because like Dr. King said, if a man ain't willing to die for anything, he ain't fit to live. But getting back to Nathan Bedford Forrest, it was shocking to educate people, black and white, down there last night, because my thing was this statue was not going to get moved unless the powers that be wanted moved. And the reason why I said that was because right across the street from where the statue and the resting place of Nathan Bedford Forrest is a Scottish Rite Freemason building. Scottish Rite Freemason building. Albert Pike, who was the founder, the chief judicial officer of the Klan, the founder of the Ku Klux Klan, which made Nathan Bedford Forrest the first Grand Wizard of the KKK, he was a Scottish Rite 33rd degree Freemason. He used to live in Memphis back in the 1860s when Nathan Bedford Forrest was around. Nathan Bedford Forrest at one point was a city councilman. It was the Memphis City Council, which is ironic, that voted to remove his statue and to sell the property to Van Turner's green space. So he was an alderman back in the day and a Democrat. The Ku Klux Klan was invented by the Democratic Party. He was a delegate at the 1868 National Democratic Convention. But he was friends with Albert Pike, who ran the local Democratic Club in Memphis back in the 1860s. Albert Pike is from Boston. Like, you know, you look at pictures of him, he's like this big old giant Santa Claus looking dude. But the thing about it is, he's the only Confederate general with a monument in Washington, D.C. Let me repeat. Albert Pike, the founder of the Ku Klux Klan, used to live in Memphis, friends with Nathan Bedford Forrest, the first Grand Wizard of the Ku Klux Klan, has a statue, a monument in Washington, D.C. He's the only Confederate general with a monument in Washington, D.C. He was the chief brigadier general over a unit of Cherokee Indians who fought for the Confederacy during the Civil War. He led Cherokee Indians who fought for the Confederacy. Cherokee Indians are considered one of the members of the 5 civilized tribes. These are the tribes that own slaves. They took their slaves on the Trail of Tears with them. They're enslaved Africans. And recently they lost a court decision back in the summer that forced them to acknowledge the descendants of the freemen and pay them reparations, make them members of the tribe and pay them reparations. So y'all gotta look this up. Check out, look, it's all online. But I say I just say I was surprised they moved the statue because of that, you know, they right across the street from each other. Man, there's no major monument besides the National Civil Rights Museum, his crucifixion site, where he was set up by the government, local, state, and federal, because we have proven in the court of law on December 8th, 1999, U.S. Civil Court trial in Memphis, Tennessee, the verdict was that the government killed Dr. King. So I don't know what people don't, when they tell their kids, we don't know who killed Dr. King. Yes, the government was found guilty. The U.S. government was found guilty of killing Dr. King. Like I told the people last night, a lot of people that live in Memphis all their lives never heard of this civil trial because there was a media blackout. This is why it's so important to support platforms like We All Be. And also read Dr. Williams Pepper book, The Plot to Kill King. That's very important. It lays out the conspiracy theory because Dr. William Pepper was James Earl Ray's lawyer. And also, he was the guy that worked with the King family who he was close to. He was close to Dr. King the last year of his life, but he worked with the family to bring the civil trial case, you know, to fruition. And they killed James Earl Ray because they didn't want the truth to come out in the court of law. James Earl Ray never had a proper trial to verify if he was guilty or innocent. He pleaded because to protect his family and to protect himself, but he never admitted to killing Dr. King. He never claimed that. And he was offered deals and refused to say that they killed Dr. King. Matter of fact, the state knew that he had hepatitis C back in 1994 and did not tell him about his health condition until it got worse. The University of Pittsburgh offered to do a free liver transplant for James Earl Ray to save his life, so he have a chance to see if he could get a new trial. You had private citizens led by Dr. William Pepper who was willing to pay his transportation and security costs, but the state said, hell no, we're going to let him die. And so he died on April 23rd, which is my birthday, in 1998. So getting back to Nathan Bedford Forrest, it was a shock, man. Very much a shock. But where do we go from here? Well, one I suggest is we take them down, but put them up. Take them down, but put those righteous ancestors back up. I've been leading the charge to get the airport renamed after Jimmy Lunsford and Lieutenant Colonel Luke Weathers Jr. Lieutenant Colonel Luke Weathers Jr., the first African-American air traffic controller in the city of Memphis, but also one of the original Tuskegee Airmen. And of course, Jimmy Lunsford, the real king of swing, who is the father of Memphis music education, first high school band director in the city, led the greatest swing band of the 30s and 40s, #1 attraction Apollo Theater for a whole decade, who owned and flew his own airplanes at a time when African Americans were not allowed to even, fly. He found a way to fly. So why not rename the airport after these two fine young gentlemen? These two gentlemen, excuse me, who are deceased now. But why not rename the airport after them? Black Memphians were also aviation pioneers in a 70% black town. We need those type of heroes as well as sheroes acknowledged. We need to honor the legacy of Ida B. Wells Barnett more. Her career started in Memphis, and she had to flee and fear her life because of the truth she spoke in the black media, in the black press that she owned. A black woman, a woman owning her own newspaper, as well as being an outspoken journalist, was very rare during those times in the 19th century, especially in the South, especially if you're a woman of color. So Ida B. Wells to be able to do that and then get run out the city, she need to be better acknowledged and better remembered in this city. There's so many freedom fighters, heroes, and sheroes that need to be honored in this city of so-called good abode. So yeah, I'm talking a lot. It's like I'm rambling all over the place. But I'm glad that I was able to go there last night to witness that history and also to share this moment with fellow Memphians and the curious. But I just want people to aware that that was a battle that was won. That was not the war. We're still fighting the war. And so I want people to stay encouraged. Don't be discouraged. Keep our eyes on the prize and keep it trucking. Cause I'll do the same, but I want people to support the efforts I'm doing to resurrect the memories of the righteous ancestors. I started a change.org petition to rename the airport. The momentum has slowed down, but it's not over yet. I met with the president of the airport authority, and really at this point it's about politics. If they could get that statue removed, those statues removed from downtown, and it took 100-some years, I think now is the season. The ancestors want justice. They want acknowledgement. It's time to move. It's time to keep it moving. And I'm gonna do my part on my end with We All Be Group Incorporated. The Jimmy Lunsford Jamboree Festival coming up September 23rd through the 30th. 7 days of phenomenal events honoring a black man who did some phenomenal work for people, for humanity. Jimmy Lunsford. We're gonna make sure his name is remembered for years to come in this city, and we're gonna make sure his legacy is a living one to try to reinvigorate music education in the county schools. That's one part of the mission. But feel free to support this family. We always look for donations. We are a 501c3 nonprofit organization, and We All Be Group Incorporated. So your donations are tax deductible. And also, we're looking for people to help in other ways. I'll be sending out some more information about how people can get involved with the We All Be movement. We're looking for members, contributors, researchers, doers. So I'm looking to help train the next generation of critical thinkers. I've been blessed in my life to have mentorship, or jagnas. I'm calling them jagnas because mentor means their origins. Let's look up what mentor really means. but Jegnas. I've been blessed to help people like the Army Bailey, the Honorable Judge the Army Bailey, the Honorable Emerson Abel Jr., the Honorable Baba Dick Gregory. These type of black men fed into me, believed in me, helped me to get to the next level. And I lost all three of these black men within the last 2 years. So I got some work to do. My load has gotten heavier since these gentlemen have left. They live amazing living legacies, but now it's my job in this flesh, in this matrix, to help amplify. Like Judge Bailey used to tell me, Ron, you must amplify, amplify, amplify. So yeah, we got work to do, but like I said before, we got to protect our brothers and sisters and work with them. We might not agree on everything, on every piece of strategy or method or whatever that, but we're on the same side. I stand with Sister Tammy Sawyer, Reverend Earl Fisher, and so many of the Take Them Down 901 movement in solidarity, because I'm gonna need their help to bring this healing peace to our community, because I'm coming with solutions. People say they don't know what the next step is. The next step, one of the next steps is supporting what we're doing at the We All Be Group Incorporated to honor our righteous ancestors and to help give hope and inspiration to the living. Our people need healing in all areas of human activity. But also, I want to talk at this time to the people who supported the legacy of Nathan Bedford Forrest. Now, to me, I would not have a problem with the statue staying where it's at. My problem was with taxpayers, the descendants of enslaved Africans, of the people that Nathan Bedford Forrest exploited and terrorized. We should not be left with the taxpayer bill to make sure we pay for police security for the people who admire Nathan Bedford Forrest Society. You know, we should not have been left with the bill as taxpayers to pay for their protection, for their police security escort, to pay for the upkeep of their white nationalist hero, because he was no hero of mine. Make no mistake about it. Now, what's done is done, but my thing was, like I told one of the organizers this past July, after the Nathan Bedford Forrest rally, when he asked me what was I doing, I was doing my commentary at the statue, and he pulled his pickup truck around, and he asked me what was I doing. I told him, and I basically said, look, if y'all raise the money privately to erect this monument to your hero, y'all should be more than willing to pay for the upkeep on the memory and legacy of your hero. It shouldn't be the responsibility of a town which is 70% black to pay for the upkeep on the statue and the monument in the memory of a man who terrorized our ancestors, who exploited our ancestors, okay? It should be on black folks to pay. It should be on the people who admire and support Nathan Bedford Forrest. And you cannot, you know, equivocate what we should take down Dr. King's monuments. There's no monuments really Dr. King in the city, except for the crucifixion site of Dr. Martin Luther King Jr. And you cannot equate Dr. Martin Luther King Jr. really, honestly, with Nathan Bedford Forrest. Now, I know I went to a rally in 2016. I interviewed Nathan Bedford Forrest enthusiast at the rally, who was also a Civil War actor, and he said something to the effect, well, you know, my brother Ron, well, Nathan Bedford Forrest, he was the first civil rights leader. Hell, he and Dr. King would have been friends. And they based all this on one thing. This speech that he did July 4th, 1875, before the Pole Bearers Association, which was the forerunner of the NAACP. He told them black folks that black people have the right to achieve, to excel as much as white people do in a fair society. And by golly, it was a black woman that gave him a bouquet of flowers and kissed him on the cheek. And he said, by golly, I love flowers, but I love chocolate even more. I don't know what the hell he said, but that's what I'm thinking he said. But the thing about it is, about Nathan Bedford Forrest, there's something about Nathan Bedford Forrest. As you know, Forrest Gump, the fictional character, is named after Nathan Bedford Forrest, my cousin. You know, they made a scene about, they showed Nathan Bedford Forrest put a Klan's hood on, whatever. But Nathan Bedford Forrest's great-great-grandson is Douglas Turner Ward, who is the founder of the Negro Ensemble Company. That's right, boys and girls, scholars and laymen. Nathan Bedford Forrest's great-great-grandson, Douglas Turner Ward, is the founder of the Negro Ensemble Company, the same organization that discovered and produced and mentored or trained the likes of a Denzel Washington, a Angela Bassett, a James Earl Jones, a Samuel Jackson, a Morgan Freeman. That's his legacy. It's like if you're a Jewish person and your great-great-grandfather is Adolf Hitler. Almost the same difference. But anyway, it is what it is, but we gotta, as a people, step our propaganda game up. So I can find some information. Like I said, shout out to Tammy Sawyer. She manifested. Yeah, I say black woman is God. Here she is. This summer in front of the Jefferson Davis statue. Take them down 901. This the Memphis Flyer. And sure enough, it came down. Fannie Lou Hamer. I call her Fannie Lou Hamer. My bad. Tammy Sawyer doing a thing. But also we gotta step our propaganda game up. You find. I got this in the mail last year. Befriended some Nathan Bedford Forrest people at his birthday rally. A Rebel Born. It's like a big, thick book. I have not read it. I looked at it a little bit. But we got to start as black people, as people who got causes to step our propaganda game up. You can have truth and a lie. No, I'm sure there's some truth somewhere in there and all this stuff. But you got to start stepping our stuff up. At a time when the black media is becoming obsolete, it's the time to resurrect and be more sophisticated, more suave, nuanced, and ambitious. That's one thing Malcolm said. His criticism of the black press back in his time. Malcolm was so wise. We still don't heed the words of Malcolm like we should. He said something to the fact that the problem with black media is that we allow the white media to shape the conversation when it comes to us. We allow the white media to take the lead. We ape the white media. We regurgitate what they say instead of creating our own new storyline and narrative and coming from a unique point of view. It's time to embrace what makes us us. It's time to embrace what makes you you. And that's what we all be do, because we all be heard. See, people want to shut me down in this city. People like to dismiss Brother Ron. People like to shit on Brother Ron. People like to ignore Brother Ron. But Brother Ron is here to stay, because Brother Ron had enough sense to create his own way. I'm not waiting for the news people to come to me. I bring the news. I take in stuff and spit it back out in my image. That's what I do. I'm not waiting for y'all to validate me. I don't need y'all to validate me. Validation comes when people pay attention to what you're saying, when people use what you're saying to help themselves and help other people. When people ask you, Brother Ron, what you think about that? That's validation. But I'm not looking for it. I'm just being me. Because I got to live with me 24/7. I don't have to live with everybody else. I can live by myself, but I got to deal with me, myself, and I 24/7. So, just pray for our people. Blessings, protection to Brother Van Turner, Sister Tammy Sawyer, Reverend Earl Fisher, so many other people who are involved, and to take them down 901. It's funny how so many people will put on the mayor's enemies list. People like Tammy Sawyer, people like Earl Fisher, Reverend Earl Fisher, and all they want to do is serve their city and the people that they love in their own way, and to give us a chance. So let's give ourselves a chance. And I want to thank people who wanted to know what I thought about this. I know I could talk forever, but look at our playlist on this. I have years and years of videos and research I have done about Nathan Bedford Forrest and about the movement to get his statue taken down. I know, once again, sometimes like Dick Gregory tell me, when the universe uses you, it don't leave fingerprints, but my fingerprints are all over this motherfucker. So y'all can check it out, and please feel free, if you like what you heard, the word from Brother Heard, to donate and support We All Be, tax deductible. It could be a Patreon or patreon.com/We All Be. Make a one-time or recurring donation to our PayPal account, or you can send in a check or money order to our P.O. box. We got several ways, or you can also I got this, I'm rocking the I.to.B. Wells. I'm rocking that. That's a shirt I made, right? Support We All Be like that. We sell shirts. I write books. James Reese Europe, Jazz Lieutenant. recommended jazz book for kids and young adults. I do it all, but I do it for the people. I serve my people. I love my people. If I didn't love my people, I won't be able to do what I'm doing. I won't be on here talking to y'all right now. So thank you all so much for listening to me ramble and rant and rave. In the words of Great Duke Ellington, we love you madly. Keep on producing and pushing. Peace. And one more thing about the statue. Daddy Question statue, the statue of Nathan Bedford Forrest on a horse, that statue was made in Italy. It's worth millions of dollars. It's not a bad looking statue. Although it represents an ugly legacy, it's not a bad looking statue. I know people talking about the bodies are still there, the remains of his wife and of Nathan Bedford Forrest himself. In his last will and testament, Nathan Bedford Forrest wanted to be buried with his men. And he was originally buried in Elmwood Cemetery, which is the oldest cemetery in Memphis. And from my understanding, they have agreed to take back the remains of Nathan Bedford Forrest and his wife. Their remains were removed back in 1904 to the current spot on Union Avenue. The statue was put on top of the remains in 1905. And the Sons and Daughters Confederacy raised the money, and they've been doing their rallies ever since that time. So it's gonna be interesting to see what they end up doing this year's or next year's, excuse me, rally. Because like I said, every year they meet the Sunday before his birthday, July the 13th, and he is acknowledged by the state of Tennessee as a state hero. He gets a proclamation every year from the governor of Tennessee, who was a billionaire. So it's interesting. So the statues were removed, and according to Van Turner Press, they don't really know the location of where the statues are, but I'm wondering what they're going to do with the statues. Do they own the statue? But my understanding that the statue of Nathan Bedford Forrest is worth millions of dollars. So it's going to be, this ain't over, folks, because the supporters of Nathan Bedford Forrest, they're going to do what they can legally to resolve this matter. But at the end of the day, I doubt that the statue will be coming back to where it was once located for the last 112 years. And so I will do my best to bring y'all the news on this as it develops. And that's it. Thank you so much.